Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Minor Vincent, who is the president of Families Helping Families in Clinton. Minor, welcome. How are you?
Pete, good to be back with you.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. How have you been?
Very good.
Good.
Very good.
So, Minor, tell us a little bit about Families Helping Families and exactly what you guys do.
So, Families Helping Families was started 15 years ago, and we had one community outreach program, and that was energy assistance. And we kind of evolved into 4 different outreach programs, all in the Clinton community. We have one of them is the Clinton Kids Initiative. Anything to do with kids, whether it's back to school, whether it's summer art camps, musical theater camps, sailing classes, we provide. We do at Christmas time, we do a lot of gift cards for tweens. You know, everybody does Toys for Tots.
Sure.
And there's a group of 12 to 16-year-olds that kind of get ignored. Not purposely, but that's just the way it is. And so we make sure they have gift cards to 3 or 4 different stores where they can go. They can buy whatever they want to.
Cool.
We have another program, Families to Families. So when there's a crisis, people can get a hold of us. My phone is always on 24 hours a day. And if it's somebody that has needs utility bills paid for, it's a family crisis, somebody's in the hospital, we make sure they have gas cars to go back and forth to the hospital, fill their cabinets with emergency food supplies. Anything to do when a family is in a crisis mode. They don't have to fill out paperwork, they just have to get a hold of us and we'll react accordingly. And then we have Food for Clinton. So Food for Clinton evolved into a partnership with the Clinton Food Pantry.
Sure.
And during this pandemic, we have been concentrating primarily on providing food for the Clinton Food Pantry. And not to say we have ignored the other programs, because right now we're in the midst of buying backpacks for kids going back to school.
Correct.
And we're buying new shoes and clothes for kids going back to school. Back to school has evolved from the pens and the pencils and the notebooks, and not that that's not important. But we want to make sure that it's different than when I went back to school, and if your pants had a little tear and it had been sewed, nobody ever said anything. Today there is a stigma attached to some of those things.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that kids go back, they have new clothes and new shoes. And it's more and more every year. We're finding that we spend more of our resources on clothes and shoes. But the food pantry is a partnership that we have, and what's happened is, just to give you an idea of what the need is, not only in our town but all the towns. It's exploded. So before the pandemic, there were probably 130 to 140 families a week that use the pantry. So I use a multiplier of 4. So if there's 140, that's 560 people that actually go and need food. During the pandemic, it got as high as 350 families.
Oh, wow.
So use that same multiplier, that's like 1,440 people. It's leveled off and it's come down, but the average is still, I'd say, like 190 to 215. So, that's like 70 families more each week, 300 people. So what we've done is we've established a wholesale partnership with a produce company. So every week, Lynn Smith, who's the director of the food pantry, and we both get a printout of what's available. And she knows, I give her a budget every week. And she picks out a lot of the items that are on sale, so we save money. And because we're buying wholesale, we're saving money. And we also get a delivery that same day when they give out the food. So it's like the freshest possible food you can get. Then on our side, we have found some sources online. Amazon, Target, Walmart. So with our Amazon, we have a subscription service. So the price that you see if you go on Amazon.com our prices are 15 to 20% less than that.
Correct.
So we can take $1 and really stretch it. To give an example, if you go to Stop and Shop and you see a can of vegetables, it's 79 or 89 cents a can.
Yes.
We can buy that same can for 59 cents.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is educate people, and I know people want to have the feeling of giving a bag of cans or
Right.
bag of groceries, but if people donate to us, we can take that one bag of groceries and turn it into a bag and a half.
Right.
So what happens on Wednesday, our produce supplier delivers produce,
Yep.
and then we deliver via my truck
Yeah.
a whole bunch of non-perishables.
Okay.
And since the pandemic started in April of 2020, we've delivered over 112,000 pounds of non-perishables and fresh produce and related items to the pantry.
Wow.
So just to give you an idea, it's like
Absolutely.
our budget, food budget from 2019 to 2020 increased fivefold.
Okay.
And listen, we're so grateful to the citizens of Clinton, because without their generosity, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. And
No, absolutely not.
It's a real testimony how much they care, and they want to share their resources with people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And we just, we don't want to see, and just like in our energy assistance program, we don't want to see anybody have a cold home
No.
during the winter, or we don't want to see any family suffer for a lack of food.
No, absolutely
So,
not. Absolutely not.
That's been our main focus, but we haven't forgotten about the other programs during the pandemic. But,
Absolutely. And how are the other programs holding up during the pandemic?
we've been able to help people out. We did energy assistance during the winter, and like I said, we've been very fortunate because the donations have held up, and we've been able to do all of them with the main emphasis on food. We just, like I said, we don't want any family to go hungry. So
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right. Mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. You have a date for me.
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
A date that I'm sure that you will show up to.
Okay.
September 18th, Saturday, we are going to do an in-person food drive, and people will be able to donate online virtually. If you can't make it, you make a donation, and all that money that gets donated that day will be separate from our regular general fund.
Okay.
And go towards food.
Okay.
So it's going to be a Stop and Shop Saturday, September 18th, 10 to 2.
Right.
Now, dependent on conditions, we don't normally we're at both doors, as you are
Right.
well aware of.
Absolutely.
We don't know if they're going to allow that, or we'll be somewhere in the parking lot.
Right.
And I think they're going to wait and see what happens as we get further down the road with
Absolutely.
some of the rise of the
Yeah.
variants.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we'll be there that day, and as you well know, we're kind of like the post office. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail doesn't stop us.
Or 90 above or 90 below.
It does. We've been there for both sides of the thermometer. So
Absolutely. You think maybe?
yeah, I think you've been
Just a couple?
You've been involved for almost all of the 15 years. so.
Absolutely. 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 So, Minor, let me ask you this: as far as the pandemic goes, with you guys being a nonprofit, how has that affected Families Helping Families?
Well, it's had a positive effect.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the generosity of people in town has been overwhelming.
Right.
So we've been able to maintain all of our programs and increase. Like I said, we in 2019 we were probably spending, say, between $1,800 to $2,000 a month on food.
Okay.
During the pandemic, we have been averaging between $5,500 and $6,200 a month on food.
Okay.
So we couldn't have done that without everybody's donations.
Right.
I can't say enough for the town of Clinton.
No,
because,
absolutely not.
Like I said, it's. I never would have believed that we could have done this and kept this up for this long, but
Right.
people have been very generous, and it's a real testimony because we didn't send out an appeal letter either.
Right.
We just felt like people have been very generous, and we didn't want to do an appeal letter because, you know, it was like almost a silent letter, the way people responded. So, and hopefully, you know, I would hope that the lines at the food pantry, you know, would decrease, but there's, like I said, there's been a leveling off,
Right.
but it hasn't gone back to pre-pandemic figures. So we're just going to, you know, hope the donations keep coming in and we can keep doing what we're doing.
Now, how closely do you guys work with the Shoreline Soup Kitchen?
Well, Lynn Smith is the director of the Clinton Pantry.
Absolutely.
And we work directly with her.
Okay.
Like I said, I give her a weekly budget, and she has carte blanche to buy whatever she feels like the pantry needs. Now, this time of year, because the community gardens are contributing vegetables,
Okay.
she buys more of the fruits.
Okay.
And then she tells me, in terms of non-perishables or other related items, you know, what the needs of the pantry are, and I am able to buy those things and maintain a supply in what used to be my garage.
Right.
It's now our warehouse.
There you go.
But it's, you know, I get stuff delivered, and then I have a couple people that will come and to help them out. So when we get a delivery of packages and cartons of food, all those cartons have to be separated
Absolutely.
into, as you well know, banana boxes.
Absolutely.
So we separated them into banana boxes, so when we take it to the pantry, it's easier for them because right now they are not doing any in person. It's, you know, it's grab and go.
Right.
So what they have to do is they put everything in shopping bags. So when we bring the food, if it's all separated, it makes it a lot easier for them just to, you know, to go into each banana box and take out, you know, whether it's corn or vegetables or beans or something like that. So the system works well.
Absolutely.
The problem is trying to keep up with the demand.
Absolutely. Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Love to.
All right, we'll be right back.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
I can't wait to get back to field trips with my school.
Not having to think about putting on a mask.
I really can't wait to get back to life, really.
I miss all my friends. I miss taking pictures in school.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
COVID-19 vaccines are available, and they're the first step to safely getting back to things we miss most. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines.
Each year, there are more than a dozen significant tropical and winter storms that threaten the East Coast. So chances are there will be more hurricanes and blizzards near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Minor Vincent, president of Families Helping Families, located out in Clinton. Minor, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back, my friend. Thank you. Minor, so we were talking a little bit in the first segment about the food pantry, and on, I believe it's Wednesdays?
Yes, Wednesdays.
And where is the food pantry located?
So the food pantry is at First Church, right on Main Street in Clinton, across from Town Hall.
Sure.
Wednesday afternoons into the early evening.
Okay.
They give out the food. Now, because of the pandemic, things are different.
Yes.
Pre-pandemic, it used to be set up with all tables inside.
Right.
So what they would do is, for each item, category, they would have a table, and it would be set up by the number of people in a family unit. So you went from table to table and could pick out whatever category of that category, your designated amount, whether it's 3 cans or 4 cans or something like that. Now it's totally different. It's a lot more labor intensive, because what happens is they take all the different categories of food, they figure out a certain amount goes in each bag.
Okay.
And then there's a certain amount of produce that goes in another bag. So then it's basically called grab and go. Somebody drives in, drives through, they handed a couple of bags, and they drive out.
Okay.
But to accomplish that is a lot more work than the old system.
Right.
But they are practicing, social distancing, and they're trying to make sure that everybody, not only the workers there, but also the people coming through, everybody is safe and not exposed to close contact.
No, absolutely not. Now, how closely do you guys work with the church gardens? Because I know there's a couple of church gardens in the town of Clinton too.
So what we do is we have helped fund the community garden at the Holy Advent Church.
Oh, sure.
And I work there every Wednesday. I'm not a gardener, but my job, along with a couple other people, is we package up all the food that needs to be packaged, whether it's in containers, whether it's banding them up and putting them in banana boxes, and then probably around 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, the food pantry truck will come, pick it all up, and take it to the pantry. Okay. And that garden has, in 6 years, it's grown considerably, and then St. Mary's has 2 gardens. Right. The St. Mary's gardens grow some of the heavier things, the heavier squash and cucumbers, eggplants. The Food for All garden, which is the one at Holy Advent, tends to grow some of the lighter things. They grow lettuce, beans, peas, some herbs, things like beets, things like carrots, things like that. Oh, cool. But again, the nice thing about the whole operation, both operations, is that it's picked that day, that Wednesday, and goes to the garden. And sometimes it's picked on Tuesday and refrigerated, and then on Wednesday it'll go to the garden. So, people are getting the freshest produce. Absolutely. And the gardens, it's just an amazing, both gardens are amazing. There's people that are absolutely dedicated to those gardens and producing food for families in Clinton. I mean, they, whether it's planting, whether it's weeding, whether it's covering, so the rabbits don't get, don't eat all the carrots and things like that. But they're there every Wednesday and every Saturday morning. Okay. And they just do a tremendous job. People need to, when they drive by Holy Advent, which is a church right next to Pearson School. Yep. All they have to do is drive in the driveway as if you were going into Pearson School. Yep. And look at the garden. It's all right there. Yeah, it's all right there, and it's just an amazing operation. They have, like I said, I think this is their 6th year. They've just done a phenomenal job. Absolutely. Now, what is the mission statement of your organization? Our tagline is serving Clinton families with passion and compassion. Okay. And that sums it up. We care about the families in Clinton, and what we've done over the past 15 years is any way that we can help, then we're there to help. And I couldn't be prouder of the organization. We've had some wonderful people that have come on board to help out. And it's just, we're all blessed. Right, and, absolutely. We just, sometimes I think that, the world that we live in is going at such a rapid pace that we miss some of the blessings. Absolutely. And, listen, the facts are there are some people that have been severely affected by this pandemic. Not just sickness-wise, but their incomes have been cut because a lot of people were working 2nd and 3rd jobs that no longer exist, and we just want to make sure that those people don't get forgotten about. No. Whether it's a kid that's 5 or 6 years old, or somebody that's living in a household by themselves that's 85 years old. Right. They're part of the Clinton fabric, and we want to make sure that they feel not alone and not isolated, but part of the community. And that's the passion. It's people say, well, why do you do it? And I said, because it's really pretty simple. We're blessed, and we're just passing on that blessing. Absolutely. And we're blessed because people have blessed us with their donations. Right. And we feel a real responsibility to make sure that we're the stewards of those dollars. So there's many nights when I labor over should I buy it from this vendor or that vendor? And if I buy it from this vendor, maybe I can save a nickel or a dime, and I can use that somewhere else. So
Right.
we're very fortunate that we live in the town that we live in.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about the backpack program that you guys have going, especially with back to school around the corner.
Yep. Well, what we're doing is we work with Cheryl Church at Clinton Social Services, and she has an inventory of what she has for backpacks, and we will buy the rest. We normally buy between 50 and 60 backpacks, just to make sure that anybody that needs one can go to Cheryl and she'll have them. And then what we do is we buy gift cards for clothes and shoes.
Okay.
And this year we're probably 70 gift cards just for shoes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's we don't want kids to go back to school with not the best.
No.
We want them to go back just like we would go back to school.
Right.
So we want to make sure that as many kids can be taken care of as we can. And,
Absolutely.
Cheryl does a great job. She's one of Clinton's unsung heroes.
Right.
Because,
Oh, absolutely.
her job is very, very difficult, and she is a huge advocate for people and advocate for their needs and meeting those needs. And we're really blessed to have her as part of our community. So
Yeah.
we appreciate her efforts, and our energy assistance program wouldn't run without her, because
Absolutely.
Basically what we do is she runs the program. She knows that we have dollars to pay for oil or electricity, as the case may be, and she just calls the company, and we get oil delivered, and the bill comes to me and I pay it. But it's she makes those determinations. So we're very fortunate, just like with Lynn Smith at the food pantry.
Right.
It's a great partnership.
Absolutely.
And they're not quote unquote part of the family's family, but they are an integral part of our family.
Absolutely.
We couldn't do it without them.
No, absolutely not.
And
Absolutely not.
people have commented about they drive down Main Street on a Wednesday night and see all the cars backed up, and it takes a lot of work behind the scenes by Lynn Smith, and Lynn, and her husband Ray.
Absolutely.
And they do just a phenomenal job making sure that people have food, and many times they run out, and so she gives out food cards when that does happen.
Really?
But to coordinate this whole grab and go effort has been a huge extra burden on the whole group of people that do work at the food pantry. So she and Ray deserve a lot of credit to keep that operation going.
And they're both wonderful people too.
They're absolutely
absolutely.
great. They're really because
Oh, absolutely.
you've been around them and the food drives, and we couldn't be more blessed that with Cheryl and Ray and Lynn. They have been, like I said, they're not official Family Help and Family members, but
Right.
they are part of the organization.
Now, you just said the key word, food drive. When, where, and what time?
September 18th, Stop and Shop, 10 to 2, or you can donate online, and we will make sure that all the funds that come in that day go directly to purchasing food.
Absolutely.
So we're excited. We want to make sure the shelves are always filled there.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the food drive in September, will somebody be there? Will somebody be there live in person?
Yes, yeah. I'm hoping that you'll be there.
I was going to
live
say,
in
it could be
person.
us.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be there,
Well,
and I know that you very rarely miss
absolutely.
them. So, we hope people will turn out, whether we're at the doors or in the parking lot, and
Right.
we're hoping that we can collect a lot of food, because they're giving out a lot of food every week.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And this is your first in-person fundraiser since the pandemic?
Yes, it is. This is the first one. So we're hopeful that number one, it's a good day.
Right.
Or if it's raining, we get the people will feel sorry for us back there,
right.
and give us even more. But
Exactly.
people are very, very generous when we do. When we do
yeah.
food drives, people, and it's amazing because we get a number of people will say, I was there once, and those are the people that when they come out of the store and the shopping carts are filled with food.
Oh, absolutely.
so they're appreciative of what we're doing. So we're looking forward to it. It's hard to tell, what the future holds.
Right.
We've basically evolved into an online organization.
Right, sure.
We are doing our third concert with Kids Connection.
Sure.
Is coming up on Sunday, August 15th.
Okay.
It's free. It's at the Academy Building on Main Street. There's a group of young, very talented singers from Kids Connection that will sing for about an hour and 15 minutes. And they do 60s, 70s, and 80s songs.
Oh, cool.
And we're working with Laura on possibly doing a Christmas program. They completely renovated the upstairs of the Academy Building. It's absolutely beautiful. So we're thinking about doing a program there as part of Christmas in Clinton. And we're hoping that it will be a carol sing, but older Christmas carols and newer Christmas carols.
Oh, there you go.
So it's a combination of both. And let me tell you, these kids work really hard. And we had a concert 3 weeks ago, and they were just phenomenal.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward. And I hope people, it's free, come out, sit on the grass, have a good time.
Exactly.
Sunday evening, it's worked out well. And if, we are hoping that we will be able to repeat it again next year.
Minor Vincent from Families Helping Families, thanks for some time, my friend, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
Thanks, Minor. On behalf of Minor Vincent, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time.